welcome back to part 2. So, for those who didn't join us last time, go and check it out. But we went through Peter and Jimmy's sort of top 3 songs from each of these Oasis albums. So last week we looked at Definitely Maybe, What's the Story, Morning Glory, and of course, Brain's Gone Dead, Be Here Now. And then we finished off by talking about the master plan.
I'm glad that we did.
Good. We had to talk about it, mate.
No, we had to talk about it.
Yeah,
I think you're Prof didn't talk about it, but again, in the laws of what this is, and like,
no, I understand the laws of the thing, but we definitely have to talk about.
Yeah. So just as a reminder of what the rules are, we asked Jimmy and Peter to get 3 of their favourite songs from each of these Oasis albums, with the idea of merging them all together across 4 albums to make like an ultimate super album.
Yeah.
Yep. We call it the best of the bands.
The best of the bands.
Best of the bands. So,
who else have you
done?
done?
Our next one. No,
well, who else have you done on this?
You are.
We haven't. This
you are
is
number
the
1.
first episode of Best of the Bands, mate. Yeah. Yeah, so let's get normal stuff. We talk about like CD nostalgia and
He's
stuff
fucking
like that.
buzzing. Look at him.
Absolutely.
You've always been my number 1.
Print out that picture I've just took of just you two. I'm going to frame it on me.
Oh, mate. Thank you.
Should we sign it as well for when we're big and famous?
We'll never go on, fuck it. They support the Manic Street Preachers, you know, mate. We are with big fucking company here.
We are with big company.
We
on
are.
the street.
Yes.
And when, where, why?
Long time ago. Christ, how long ago? Like 13, 14 years ago.
That's a long time ago.
When HMV was around.
Still is, mate. I was there on Saturday.
It's just not as prevalent.
Well, yes.
I went and bought the Definitely Maybe re-release on there on Saturday.
Well,
segueing back into being on topic. I fucking love it.
Well, this conversation here will tell you why they went bust, because what they used to do is their Christmas do, or their like work party, used to be, because they had the Hammersmith Apollo, so they would hire that out and put like a massive gig on, so they get loads of bands in. So for this party that we ended up playing at, they had Manic Street Preachers, Charlatans,
I know.
Paloma Faith, Tiny Tempter.
It
was a bit random, like, and Eliza Doolittle, which was interesting, and then group of 6 lads from Stockton opening up.
Random that. What was your band?
Hey Alaska, it was called.
Hey Alaska.
Yeah, screamo, emo.
Oh, was it
like,
screamo?
I'm not doing that. And then
you know what? I bet my mate probably knew who they were. She was a massive emo fan.
Probably.
She was always at Sumo.
Yeah, more than likely. Then we did all right in like Teesside and stuff. Like played music live a couple of times, and then did a few gigs like elsewhere in the UK. But that was the biggest one. But the reason why we got it is because sorry, that's my diabetes telling me I'm about to die. The reason why we got that gig,
why we didn't force him to have red wine.
The irony is the alcohol freeze made it go up. The reason why we got it is because one of the lads in the band worked at HMV, and what they did was they had like a battle of the bands, so they got like different shops together. And
I think really a thing, battle of the bands. I thought it just happened on 80s movies.
Well, yeah, they used to be in school and stuff, and like this was the first one that we did in a while. Yeah, you just got put in front of a panel,
Sorry,
and then
I'm getting attacked by flies.
So
like, if I'm not looking like I'm being interested, I am. I'm just trying to.
They've just smelt the wine and they're getting frisky, aren't they?
There's shit.
Sorry, carry on.
But yeah, that was it. It was just a big HMV battle of the bands, and then they got the whole all of the shops together in the Hammersmith.
And how long were you there for? Like together for? Sorry, the band.
Oh, about 5 or 6 years or something. But we had like, I'd say like the sort of peak was across like a year, 2 years.
Street Preachers.
Just, yeah, you know. But yeah, it was good. It was good crack.
Did you do any festivals or anything like that?
No big ones. No. Do you know what? Like, I don't think people realize like how much you have actually got to like sacrifice to get somewhere. I think.
Yeah.
I think. I think I could understand what you would have to sacrifice in terms of trying to get to the level that you're at.
Yeah, and I think like it was there was a couple of us, myself included, like that weren't willing to give up everything. So like I think that's what held us back. You really need like a band where everyone is like, I'm
gonna half-arse it.
No, I'm gonna live in that van and I'm not gonna do anything
like
else.
The Arctic Monkeys, the original 4, one of them drops out and goes, I'm just not pursuing it because I just don't think it's gonna happen. And then they go fucking massive. And then he's like, shit.
Yeah. Well, then if he never left, would it have happened? Do you know what I mean? Like, hindsight's a great thing, but
1975. No, you don't like him.
I
and to be honest, I have to say, I like
not like him.
I despise them.
I like again, not into the bands like you've just been talking about Oasis. I'm not into the band. I'm not bothered about Matt Healy and the rest of them. I just like certain songs, singles, full albums. Nowhere near as good. But I know a woman who was the mother of the son who dropped out of the 1975 just before they became big because he decided that he didn't think they were going to be that big anymore.
Yeah.
And then they went on and become like astronomically fucking famous.
It was like mad that though, because it was literally like overnight. They played in Bury, in the Keys, or was it? Yeah, the Keys on Linthorpe Road.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and a mate of mine was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go and watch them," and I was like, "Oh, whatever." Like I've never heard of them. I'm not bothered. And then literally like next week, Radio 1, it was like that fucking sex song came out.
Like
that chocolate.
But it just shows
chocolate
you
as well. Yeah.
It just shows you how. Yeah, but that's like, when you're talking about certain songs that are just made to like be massive hits to like shoot you at the stars.
Radio 1 fodder, mate.
Yeah, it
Radio
is.
1 fodder.
But if you listen to a lot of their... Have you ever liked M83?
Never heard them.
Never heard of them. Oh, did you ever watch Made in Chelsea years ago?
Absolutely not, Peter, no.
Neither did I, but it was the main song for their, like... Made in Chelsea. Iconic sort of sound. Anyway, the 1975 at one point were like a bit of a British M83 are French.
Yeah.
And they sounded a bit like them, and they were edgy, and they sounded good. And then the album came out. It had hardly any of the songs from the EPs. It was just all Radio 1 fodder. So that's like why you fucking...
See, I think their second album's probably... Well, I've only listened to the first two, but the second one's my favourite of the two I've listened to. I'm quite into the 80s vibe that they've got going on.
Yeah, if you took out the first actual 11 songs of the first album and listened to the deluxe version where it's all of the B-sides, a bit like Masterplan.
Yeah.
All of the B-sides are fucking far better. They're maybe only 2 minutes long at times, something like that, but they're just better.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about the...
No, we're not. We're talking
Look at him,
about...
he's fucking fuming.
I'll be honest, mate. Like, I think they're one of the worst things happening.
Oh, well, let's talk about the Beatles and make everyone fucking happy, eh?
Yeah, they're awful. Like, if they were playing in my back garden, it's not that I'd close the blinds. I'd switch me fucking power off and ask them, what do you do in my outdoor sockets? Get out of here, you horrible, odious... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like that about the Beatles. I'd rather shit in my hands and clap.
Yeah, mate. It's
we're going to talk about...
1975 is a generational band to me before, and honestly, like...
Who?
I can't name the name, but I had a stroke.
No, you can. Come on.
I had a stroke, no.
Come on.
No, I'm not mentioning names. But yeah, it's one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life.
That's it. I mean, I'll agree on that one.
Yeah, a generational band. Like, you put them up to the likes of Oasis and Arctic Monkeys, the Beatles. Like,
No, I don't think it... No.
Shut up.
Yeah.
In terms of superstar, but that's not about the songs. It's just like the fucking look and the edgy and all of the thing they've gone for,
they
and
were
like
a band
attracting certain people worldwide. But like
indie music for girls in flannel shirts.
That's what he's.
There we go.
There you go. Right, standing on the shoulder of giants.
Sotsog.
Go. Top three.
So I'll start on this one. So in my lifetime, this was the most anticipated album in my life. Like, I have never been more looking forward to something getting released than this. It was just my everything at that point. They've been away for 3 years. It was a new lineup. Oasis was coming out in the press. You had Go Let It Out come out as a single. And the singles would like design mint the disc, so like a small little disc like that, and like a perspex clear thing on the back of it. They were fucking mint. I don't think the album was like
Go
that.
Let It Out, just remind me, because you'll absolutely know this knowledge. Was Go Let It Out where the video was him on a double-decker bus?
Yes.
And he's getting on and off or whatever it was.
Yeah, I remember them premiering the video for it on their Big Breakfast.
Johnny Vaughan
What a
Johnny
show.
Vaughan and his fan out era, mate,
Best era.
So, like, this was like, when it got released, 2000.
Sorry, I keep knocking this, but I'm realising that I'm slipping off this.
It's all right, mate.
You just
And
calm
I'm
down.
not straightening my back like Joe Hart did it on Euros, where he was just like this constantly.
You have got the Joe Hart pose there.
And I'm sorry.
But yeah, so the day it got released, I went to Woolworths and Wrecker straight after school because it wasn't open before school. And obviously you're not going to miss school, are you? So it was a new Oasis, new logo, new band members. So Alan White was still in there, but Gim Arch and Andy Bell joined the band. There was rumours at the time it was just going to be the one album, but they played the rest of the albums and were like permanent members of the band. Liam Gallagher's first ever song he wrote for Oasis was going to premiere on this album. Everything pointed to absolute greatness, and it was not that. The logo didn't last long. The logo only lasted 2 albums. This was the first one on their own album as well, so like they used to be part of Creation Records, with Alan McGee. This was brought on their own album called Big Brother Records, and then you'll notice like the reference sums on the albums and singles all get called Arkid, RKID.
Yeah.
So like this was all the new version of it, like a new indie label, etc. It just flattered to deceive, and again maybe
Does
like,
that is that then being consistent through the last albums of their career?
what the Arkid scenario.
No, the Big Brother album.
Yeah.
Big Brother label.
Big Brother was So after the releases as well, they re-released all the singles again.
Isn't that then more? Isn't that because I've noticed a couple of bands do similar, where they go on their own label.
I don't know if it was their own label, but it was an indie label. I don't know whether it was an Oasis one, but it was called Big Brother anyway. I don't know whether it was an Oasis label, but obviously Creation was an indie label. But even though it was published by Sony, I think, so it still had a big label behind them. But this was after the split from Creation. I think Alan McGee pretty much folded Creation after Oasis.
So what happens when somebody gets brought into Oasis and one or two people don't leave? Somebody else just like... So you were saying there, who stayed...
Alan White stayed on drums.
Alan White stayed on drums and two people came in. So who did they replace? They replaced...
Bonehead and Giggsy.
Right, okay. So it was like-for-like replacements.
Yeah, it was like-for-like replacements.
Let's talk about in footballing terms. It was like-for-like replacements.
But when it was hyped up, this album, it was like, Noel Gallagher was like, well, all that's going to happen here is like I can focus more on singing, because he had more confidence in Gem Archer being able to actually be a solo guitarist. And quite a few of the last few albums, Noel wasn't doing lead guitar. Gem was, and then Noel was singing a little bit more. So when you talk about the albums you like more, like the songs you say Noel's voice sounds better. Yeah, because he wasn't able to play lead guitar at the time as well. Right. But it's like musically, in regard to competent musicians, they were replaced with better musicians.
Right.
There's no doubt in that.
So then, therefore, if you're thinking about them coming back, they'll be wanting better, more accomplished musicians to be there on stage, won't they? So it makes more sense that they'll be getting more of like the newer crew, let's call them, than the old crew, because they were better at the jobs.
So yeah. And that's what they wanted. Like, obviously, Oasis had the four split, for want of a better phrase. Like the last two, the only original members by the time this album came out was Liam and Noel. So it was like they lost the gloss a little bit in regards to that, but it was still a good band. And the two had done a few nights at Wembley, done some big tours. I think they played Bolton Stadium. I think they played Murrayfield, which they're playing on the new tour. Yeah,
but if you think of it, we like all of the former albums when they didn't have the glossy musicians who were good at what they did. We like the ones where they were all a bit edgy, they were all a bit rough.
Well, it adds to the sound on it. It's that raw sort of Manchester. You kind of mentioned it before. Is
there a lot of reverb to cover mistakes?
Probably.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's hasn't gone between the chords quick enough, and you don't notice it because the songs are so reverb.
I think it sounds like what you're saying is that this is probably the first overproduced.
Well, I thought Be Here Now was overproduced, but this was probably overplayed in some elements of it.
Right.
Because Bonehead was a limited guitarist. There was one thing when he was playing a gig somewhere, and someone went to him in the crowd and said, "You literally just played 3 chords there." He's like, "Yeah, well, you paid 35 quid to watch him play them 3 chords." Mm-hmm. 35 quid sounds cheap for a gig ticket now, but it wasn't in 1996.
It wasn't. I'd say for me though, this was the first album where I would skip tracks
without a doubt,
because I wasn't so into it.
So I've never listened to this one.
Right. So
no.
It's it's like
the same.
There is some as much as I've just said that where you skip songs, the songs that get stuck in to and stuck on. Sorry, you would keep on because they were brilliant.
But one thing I don't know if you're going to mention, I don't know if you're going to mention it in yours, mate. But it's Liam Gallagher's first ever writing on this one, Little James.
Little James, yeah.
I think is lyrically one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life.
I hate that song.
Yeah,
so we have a look.
There's one line in there called it was written about. It was with Patsy Kensit at the time. It was written as an ode to his stepson. And there's a line there: "You play with your toys, even though they make noise."
That's brutal.
It's really, really poor.
And he wasn't on drugs at this time.
No, they started coming off. It's probably the issue. Christ. I'll give you my 3-1 anyway.
You live for your toys, even though they make noise.
That's it, yeah.
Have you ever played with plasticine, or you've ever even tried a trampoline? Thank you for your smile. You make it all worthwhile to us.
See, that last bit's a bit nice, isn't it? But it sounds nice, like a prayer, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just laughing.
The end bit where it goes to us.
Yeah, I'm just laughing at the lack of rhyme there.
And the whole congregation go to us.
I'll give my 3-1. Number 3 is an old track, Where Did It All Go Wrong? Again, I think this was released as a single in the US. I might be wrong.
But the music in the background of that, it sounds like a bit screechy. Like, I don't even know what instrument creates that noise, but it's a bit screechy. It almost sounds like an electric organ, maybe, but
so
high.
They did start getting
They started doing that in the later albums, I noticed.
Yeah, so they had an organ player.
That's the greatest thing about the old Charlatan songs. All featured like an organ of some sort, and I fucking love it.
So their tours from this point onwards had an organ player in as well.
Right.
So
it must have been then, because it kind of like crashes. I don't know music terms enough to like understand what it actually
That's why
says.
easier.
Let's play it. Shall I play it and try and find it?
Play it, go for it, fuck it.
So, where did it all go wrong?
Oh, where do I start? Sorry, when I'm going early when I have to play and talk tonight with my wife.
Oh, hold on. It might be this bit.
I'm not hearing any organ there, like.
No, it's not. It'll take me forever to try and find it. Great song, though.
Yeah, it's a good track.
Great song.
Yeah, great track. Number 2 would be Go Let It Out.
That's a good tune.
Off that one. Yeah, I think it's a very Beatles sounding track. I like it.
You know what? I'll give you that, even though, yeah.
It's like, I'd say it's as close as you get round the Rubber Soul era, maybe Revolver for the Beatles. And the number 1 track on that one is the biggest anthem off it. There was a video they released for it from the film for Millions, but they didn't release it as a single. Gas Panic. Gas Panic, it is.
I've not heard it.
Oh, Gas Panic is brilliant.
Well, let me give you quickly my top 3 then. So, number 3 is Go Let It Out.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Sunday Morning Call.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Gas Panic.
Yeah.
All right.
And I told you we'd be. I thought out of all the ones, we'd be pretty much nailed on this one.
Right, so like that then concludes my sort of top 3 of Oasis: Acquiesce, Listen Up, Gas Panic.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Gas Panic is a brilliant
my
track.
top 3, and then Slide Away.
I think Gas Panic was their last anthem they ever released. No, that anthemic
It's not an
sound.
anthem, really.
It is an anthem.
If you think of it in terms of what their previous anthems were on the first 2 albums, that is not an anthem as such, but it's brilliant.
It's a great track, yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that your sort of like nostalgic memories of this is going to Woolworths, or was it Big W back?
Woolworths and Redcar.
Woolworths and Redcar at that point. Do you have any like nostalgic moments with this album?
This for me, because
I was just like it's
because I got into Oasis late. This for me was more. So Gas Panic, I remember, was while I was at uni. So like, if obviously then it wasn't as easy to just click onto Spotify and start fucking listening. To songs.
Yeah.
Buy the songs from iTunes or whatever. So you didn't buy everything because you were a student and you were just hoping to get a Fatso's sandwich.
Livewire.
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't Livewire. It was more Napster at one point. And then it was something else, LimeWire. Is that what you said?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking of something else. LimeWire.
It was LimeWire. Yeah. Maybe I did or maybe I didn't. But yeah, so I was only getting into the songs like later as it kind of like kept on going along, and then you get a really shit version of a song that'd skip and you'd miss half a song and then it'd end. So you weren't listening to them all too much. But yeah, this album for Gas Panic, Go Let It Out, and Sunday Morning Call was like Sunday Morning Call for some strange reason. It wasn't wanting to get you ready for football, but I used to listen to that every Sunday morning going to football.
It sounds nothing like.
It sounds nothing to get you in the mood, does it? Like it doesn't get you in the mood at all. Do you know what I mean? Used to be on there, so I used to listen to that before going to football. But Sunday Morning Call, no, absolutely not. But yeah, Gas Panic's like. It's just up there as being one that you can always play and you would never get sick of.
No, I love it.
Right.
I love it.
You need to get.
We're putting it on in the car on the way home.
We're educating him a little bit now on what he needs
No,
to,
that's why I was looking forward to this episode, because
so that you can pick up on certain bits.
There's a few albums where I missed out. Is it Next? No. There's but then I started picking like tunes out, and then Don't Believe the Truth was like the last full album I heard, I think. I know, but that's obviously when they brought. That was when they, that was the tour that they did when I went to see them at Manchester in 2005.
You got Gallaghers as well.
Yeah,
I saw him that tour. First time I went to see him.
Was it? Yeah, it was the first time I saw him as well.
Thursday night.
I went to that instead of a school prom.
This is the weekend.
Instead of a school prom.
Yeah, not long turned 20.
Missed the prom to go and watch Oasis with me two mates.
I'd say that's a good idea. That's a good decision. That.
Well, the tickets were bought before the prom, obviously, and then we were like, well, we're not.
Did you have a date for
missing these? Well, I didn't bother trying because we'd already sorted.
We didn't have proms in our school. I don't think like American Pie just.
Which school did you go?
Riles, mate. Yeah. But like proms are a very American thing. We saw them on American Pie, and they went, "Oh, do you want to do a prom?" They advertised it at school, and then 3 people signed up.
Even St. Peter's had a fucking prom.
All right, Heathen Chemistry. This is a banger.
This is the first album for me that I started to fall out of love with Oasis songs. So I'm not like Jimmy where I fall in love with a band and become obsessed with them, apart from one, maybe 2 bands. Mm-hmm. But this was the first album for me because I only fall in love with like songs and how much it makes you feel and it changes the emotion, it reminds you of the time, all that kind of thing. This for me was just... I think I got sick of Liam's voice. We had this conversation the other day.
Yeah, but let's debate that.
Remember when we were talking about Cast No Shadow?
Yeah.
And I said his voice was beautiful on that song, and it was. Mm-hmm. But then you start listening to it in this album, and it's like he's straining the sound out. So then it has a different sort of tone than what he used to do, and then it just changes the song.
So do you think? So do you feel like he's trying? Like for that particular whiny style, like is he changed it a bit, trying
maybe
a bit
like
hard?
They become that obsessed with the Beatles, they thought that they had to go that way to try and achieve a Beatles-esque fucking sound. But either way, this is where I started to go.
So I did like Songbirds on this one, isn't it? And I didn't think he was that whiny in that one.
No, he's not. But it's a different type of like.
He wrote that one as well.
He's not.
He did.
Oh, actually, you know what? That's a good point. Then maybe I'm being too critical on the simplest, not simplest.
Can you
songs.
imagine using the same tone on Songbird as Slide Away? It sounds fucking weird.
No, but this is what I'm thinking. I wonder if, like, he just didn't have the voice to do anthems anymore. So there was no, like, there was no Slide Away, there was no Supersonic, there was no Acquiesce, there was no all of these songs where he just belts his voice out because he didn't have it anymore. Songbird,
but he's still done them tracks live, though, so no.
Oh, well, then his studio voice was just shit and he just decided to change it because
they changed
he became obsessed
style.
with John fucking Lennon.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Feels to me like they were trying to go down a different angle.
Went down real different routes.
Nowhere near edgy, nowhere near as cool as indie.
How can you be edgy and cool, right, when you're multi-millionaires living in penthouses in London, family men, have children? How can you write Supersonic?
Do that because they end up starting to become more fucking obsessed with the sound. And then
because
like thinking, I can do anything now because like I'm a multi-millionaire. Well, no, because your last fucking 3 albums were shite.
No.
And everyone's only really going to the whole tour to listen to because of the first 4 albums, maybe. No one's going to listen to I'm Out of Time on Dig Out Your Soul. No one's going for that.
I bet the fucking army, because it's a great track.
It's the only one on that album.
Liam's vocals on that are the fucking great.
This is where we would argue.
Right. Okay. Well, no.
Right,
so let's move on to the track.
Let's go.
So you go first. 3 to 1.
Heathen Chemistry.
3 to 1.
Yeah.
Number 3, Stop Crying Your Heart Out.
Yeah.
Number 2, Songbird.
Yep.
Number 1, The Hindu Times.
We have not got one the same here, by the way.
I'm not surprised because like you'll go for ones that are utter bollocks, and I've gone for the 3 that actually made some.
You can't have Hindu Times in there.
Why?
The intro off Stereophonics.
Probably why it was good. Because at that point,
song?
Stereophonics was still playing good music, whereas they became sobered up idiots.
Yeah, it's but Liam's vocals on Hindu Times are really good.
Which intro of the store? Hinged?
Off Hindu Times.
Yeah.
So the name of the track on it was off Stereophonics' first album. If Peter didn't live in have an office in a lead building, I'd be able to get it for you.
Oh, well, you could just join the Wi-Fi like everyone else has.
Yeah, I could do that, couldn't I?
Because you've never asked.
I haven't, no. Anyway, it's I'm sure people in the comments will say what it is.
Press your phone, I'll put you on the Wi-Fi.
No, you just Google it. Like,
what do you want me to put on?
Right, put me on Stereophonics Where It Gets Around.
The songs, or do you want me to just Google
Just get me the track listing on.
Oh. Stereophonics.
Right, will you tell us your 3
I'll
to 1?
give you my 3 in the meantime. So it starts number 3, Force of Nature.
Right, what do you want? Oh, there's some bangers on this fucking album.
Feel like a force of nature.
Local Boy in the Photograph.
Yeah. Great. Oh, great. Can we go away? Can I get my fucking 3 to 1?
Well, I thought you wanted me to...
Just give me the phone. short arms, you.
So aggro, isn't he?
He's had a couple of red wines.
Couple of wine.
When we went for that charity fucking quiz for Chicken Club.
I think it's same size feet.
Same size feet.
Same size feet, yeah.
Right. Same size feet has the same intro.
I think
Hindu
it's that
times.
track, yeah.
Right.
I might be wrong.
But
I've been wrong before.
Let us know in the comments if you would.
So are you
It's
saying
okay,
Hindu Times is a great song, but you're just not saying
I
it's in your
think
top?
Hindu Times is a very Oasis single of the time, where it had that kind of like anthem vibe, because it was all like Go Let It Out, Hindu Times, what was it off Don't Believe the Truth, I can't remember now. Lila was a single off that one. Like they had a very similar sound to them, because it was always the first single off the album at the time as well. Shock of the Lightning the same.
Can we guess what the other person's 3 is?
Yeah, go on, guess.
Oh, go on then.
Go on, guess.
I'm going to say, for you, I'm not going to name it in order.
Go on.
Little by Little.
Nope.
That was a bad shout, man. Hung in a Bad Place.
Yep, that's in there.
She Is Love.
Nope.
I got 1 out of 3.
Yeah, 1 out of 3. I already gave you one, but you weren't listening earlier. So number 3 is Force of Nature. I think it was an Andy Bell track, that one.
No Gallagher.
Was it Hung in a Bad Place? Was that Andy Bell?
Jim Archer.
Jim Archer, that one. And the best one on that one is Born on a Different Cloud. So again, they start having this very Beatles sound, which obviously I love.
This is why we're going to disagree then. It's not because of the Oasis element, it's the Beatles element.
Yeah.
And the obsession with becoming a Beatles fucking
Mate,
version 2.
You can say like about Beatles version 2, they've always sounded like the Beatles. They have.
Slide Away.
Mate, they have always sounded like the Beatles. The whole point is like when they were bought by Alan McGee, it's like, this is the next Beatles, they sound like the next Beatles.
I understand all of that, but I don't see any sort of similarities with, say, Slide Away, with Live Forever, with the Beatles.
I think you need to go a bit more album deep into Beatles to say Slide Away sounds like the Beatles.
Maybe I've not been educated enough in the Beatles, or maybe I've just always had a hatred for
I think you've had a hatred for
Liverpool bands.
little hipster in you, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Born a Different Cloud was my best track on that one. Hung in a Bad Place and Force of Nature.
That was more melodic, like the other ones that you've been going on about, like Cast No Shadow. What was the other one that you said?
Don't Go Away.
Don't Go Away. No, there was another one. I'm sure you said another one that was similar.
Don't Go Away was like that. There was Cast No Shadow and Slide Away, and a bit like ballady.
Yeah.
I like a ballad number.
But these were all softer, whereas like Slide Away was still quite edgy, whereas
Slide
like
Away
Born
had a
on
bit
a
more
Different
raw.
Cloud was more... Did it have more piano in it?
Yeah, it had a lot of it in it. A lot in it. Yeah, it's very, very Beatles sound, and I like it a lot for that. Yeah, it's for me, it's them 2 albums had the same logo on them. When you talk about Oasis sounds, I think they're the 2 most forgettable albums, in my opinion. It was a stage where they were trying Oasis 2.0.
Yeah.
It was kind of getting somewhere, but when the next album came out, they fucking popped then. They really did pop. And I think it's like the next album we're going about now is a very underrated, undervalued album for me.
Really?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's a very unskippable album, which is
Don't Believe the Truth.
Don't Believe the Truth.
I like this album. Mm-hmm. I really like it.
I bought this on release day, Asda in South Bank.
You know what? I think I did, but I think at the time, let me just check.
We didn't know each other then, Pete.
No,
so
we didn't.
We could have been passing
So,
ships in Asda and South Bank.
When
And
was
known
it?
each other.
2005?
2005, yeah.
Yeah. I was working in Asda, and I bought it from Georgia Asda. In their CDs part, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I mean, go on, tell me about your thoughts about this album, because you think it's better than the previous 2.
Yeah, I think it pisses all over the previous 2.
Agree, yeah, I agree on that, actually.
I think it's absolutely unskippable.
Wait a minute, what were the previous 2? I'm fucking like
Heathen Chemistry and Stand on the Shoulder Giants.
No, Stand on the Shoulder Giants I still prefer, but Heathen Chemistry, yeah, I think it's better than that.
Yeah. I think it's unskippable. I think some of Noel's best performances are on there. What you say about Liam's voice, I don't think it's Liam's voice in regards to ability. I just think in regards to songs it did. But then when you go like there's a couple of one of the tracks on here that I've put on, Liam's voice is fantastic, and there's also another track on there I haven't mentioned. Again, Liam's voice is amazing. Like one of them, I'm not going to be top 3. Meaning the Soul. Like Liam's voice in that is fucking class. Like he's not as like high pitched and whiny.
Yeah, well, give me your top 3.
My top 3: The Importance of Being Idle.
Where am I? Don't Believe the Truth. Right.
Yeah. The Importance of Being Idle. Yeah. I think it's like the video was ridiculous with Rhys Ifans in. I think it's one of Noel's best performances as a performer in regards to his vocal range. I just like it as again, the very Revolver sounding Beatles, maybe even teetering on Sgt. Pepper's. Very, very good. Number 2, Turn Up the Sun. We talk about like great intros to albums, No Hello. Yeah. This is like, again, your album's got to start with a good track, and it shouldn't. For me, I don't think your album should start with a single. It should not start with a single. It should start with a short number that gets you a little bit fucking pumped up to take you on.
Because I think when you're starting to listen to an album from start to finish, if you hear the single straight away, you're like, I've heard this already. And it was what they were leading with to try and promote the album.
Yeah.
And you feel a little bit let down.
You do, yeah.
You remember when we talked about DMAs the other day?
Yeah.
And we said you kick in with their first album.
You kick in with Timeless.
Timeless.
Yeah.
Boom.
And Timeless is phenomenally good. But it makes you think, fuck me, they didn't even release this. What else have they released?
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
I've not heard this track before, and this is your first one.
Yeah.
I'm invested. Play me the fucking
agreed.
rest.
Completely
And I
agreed.
think Turn to the Sun like is a really good like. It's got the great organ like piano playing now to begin with, like a really.
It's my favourite song on the album. Yeah.
And number 1 is Let There Be Love.
Yeah.
Again, another melody one.
Yeah.
Another ballad.
I think that's a cracking song, Lee.
Yeah, it is. It's a
Brilliant.
very like. I think this was like. What's a track on Sgt. Pepper's A Day in the Life? Like it's very much like them trying to do that kind of duets, like two-tone, like.
And it's also interesting. I didn't realise this. I've just been Googling it. So the producer off that album, obviously Noel Gallagher, but a guy called Dave Sardi, he also produced he's done work with Jet. And you know what? Now I know that.
Yeah, now we know that.
Really,
If you hear
you
Jet
can really tell,
sound,
can't you? There's some
There's
similarities.
a lot of similarities. Even the sound of that guitar.
It's that dad rock vibe.
Yeah, but then the piano as well.
A bit, but Jet were a bit less dad rock. They were more like indie.
No, Jet were a very dad rock Renaissance kind of sound, weren't they?
I sort of get where you're coming from.
I get where you're coming from.
Australian band, a bit of nod to AC/DC.
It's kind of like
talking about Australian bands, where we were like, they're not all great.
I think it's kind of like the indie band that back then our dads would be like allowed to listen to. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like kind of acceptable.
Yeah.
But
like
the
Black Keys, that kind of.
vibe. But Let There Be Love has a similar. Now that we know this, has a similar ring. There was what was that? Take that photo off the wall. That Jet song.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of the song.
I can't remember.
If you sang it in key, I might remember it.
Oh,
Sorry.
A drink.
I haven't sang properly in 10
Did
years.
you say you lead
Mate, you
guitar?
sang properly a couple of weeks ago. I saw you.
Didn't sing properly, I think.
He's not on BVs.
Let me have a look. Find that out, that song. But it was... Jet did release it. And it was like a piano-driven...
I think this is one of the albums from the last few that I need to give more time to and listen again, because I think I would end up enjoying it more.
Listen back to it. I had this with BDI recently because I hated BDI at the time. I listened to the first album again when I'd done one of the live plays for up the CD, and like I hated them at the time because like I didn't want Oasis to leave me, and I thought you give me this fucking drivel. Listen back, some fucking good rock and roll numbers in here. I quite enjoy it now. This album for me is unskippable. Like. It's fantastic. You need to listen to this one tomorrow.
And maybe you know what? That's why I'm not going to comment too
tomorrow.
much on this, because I think there's a couple of songs on here that I would skip based off what I remember. So, for instance, Mucky Fingers.
I think fucking
but
track.
this is just my past. Like, so maybe I just wasn't in the mood for. When
Great
was
drum
this
loops
released?
in that.
When was this released?
2005.
Right, so 2005. This is when I started to get more into my indie music, which then at the time ended up becoming a bit synthy as well as it got into 2007.
Hence why you like White Lies, yeah.
Hence why I like White Lies.
There was a lot of synthy stuff around then as well.
Yeah,
like
there was.
Yeah, there was.
So I think my taste of music was like starting to go away from Manchester bands, and it was going into more indie, the Killers, Kooks. Who else? I'm trying to think.
Oh, there was loads. Maximo,
especially Boy Kill Boy, loads. But I
so
think
I had Boy Kill Boy on the other day, and I thought I reminded you because I think you're the only other person.
I was
in the
the
world who
only
knows him.
other person. Honestly, I was the only person that when they come on in the club, people used to run at me and go, "They're on!" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I can say I'm the only person you know who likes them." But I think because my music was changing at that point, that's why I probably just skipped through a lot of this. So I think I need to
That makes sense. Yeah, it's an unskippable album. Listen to it tomorrow.
It's not you, it's me.
I think so. I think it's your relationship with them now. Have you done your 3 to 1?
I have, yeah. Number 3, A Bell Will Ring.
Yeah.
I think that's a brilliant song.
I think Andy Bell wrote that one.
Yeah, he did, and I think it's got a similar vibe to Turn Up the Sun in some way. It's a bit like a good rock and roll song, but it's not like as heavy as Turn Up the Sun.
Yeah, it gets heavier after the chorus. Yeah, so and then you feel brand new. Then it goes dong, like it goes in heavy. That point, as a bit that like
it's then got loads of layers of like different sounding guitars, beats, and everything. And that's what I think that's what I like a lot about a lot of songs, but it's what I've always loved about Oasis. Is it feels like there's layers upon layers of different things going on, and it just adds to it, and that's why it sounds quite anthemic. So I think number 3, A Bell Will Ring, and then number 2, The Meaning of Soul, brilliant song. And again, I'm probably wrong and you're right in this. Liam's voice isn't terrible in that.
Oh, Liam's voice is fantastic in that one.
So
I think it was a sub 2 minute song as well. If you remember right as well, he was on Sky Sports advert for a bit as well, like introducing new fixtures for a season. It was really fucking good. That fly's doing mad swatting as well.
Honestly.
But
probably fuck the life out of that other fly.
Liam has a good vocal range in that.
Yeah, it is. It's a very good song. It's I can't concentrate now. I think it's a very good song. I think it's quick and it's clever. Did he wrote that one? Did you say?
I don't think he did. Mate. No,
I thought he did. Liam Gallagher.
Did he?
But it's 1 minute 42 of just like stomping
dirty
and it's
indie rock and roll.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. And that's
roll.
if you think of what I was saying earlier. That's probably why
that's why you liked
much.
it. Yeah.
But number 1 for me was Turn Up the Sun. I think, as you were saying with an intro, you need a riff and something to come in that just grabs you straight away. You remember when you were saying about Hello?
Yeah. It does exactly the same as Hello.
It does exactly the same as Hello, but it's just a little bit different. So I think I need to give that more time.
I would like, no, that's your task for tomorrow. Jamie's got a few tasks.
Well, we're in the van again because it's day 2 of an install. So basically, I'll have the 2 girls in the van with me. I'll be like, I'm sorry, but we're putting on. Don't believe the truth.
Boss is in charge of you.
Windows right down in the van.
The last but not least.
It's least.
It's very
I don't know.
least.
I'd say Stand on the Shoulder of Giants is worse, but hey ho.
Dig Out the Soul.
Dig Out Your Soul.
Your
Stand
Soul.
on the Shoulder of Giants is worse than this album?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
You're going to find out
I
why.
hope you get killed in the comments on this because that is... Oh my God, I keep kicking and dropping and everything.
Another one I've not listened to.
Yeah.
Produced by the same guy though, Dave Sardi again.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Like I say, I will, as part of my homework, listen to this. But
so, do you want like my honest opinion? If Oasis didn't release that album, there's a good chance I probably wouldn't have bought it.
Right.
It is we have sat. But what I will say, it is the most late Beatles sounding album they ever released.
Right.
Right.
Go wild.
Just I'm thinking we've only got this one to go through, so I might as well top.
You might as well top up. Yeah. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I'd say like in regards like the late, it's the most Beatles sounding track full stop, like album full stop, sorry. And in regards to late Beatles, I think it's that, and you'll listen to this and you hear a lot of like the natural sound that High Flying Birds then went into.
Yeah, but then I think that's maybe where I got frustrated from a certain point because it's already been inspired and influenced by a band, but then trying to morph into what they were. For me, I'm just like, well, I don't see why you're doing that. There's a load of artists who have got inspiration from others, like Sam Fender. I know you don't like him, but Bruce Springsteen. The War on Drugs, sort of similar. Not Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, it's Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Anyway, War on Drugs.
He literally wears
War on Drugs, similar.
Yeah.
There's loads of bands that you can reference where they've probably got their influence from.
Well, White Lies, like they were much of a band at the time. They're very much Joy Division sounding, weren't they?
Yeah, Joy Division. Everyone used to compare them with the Editors.
Editors are the same.
It's
Interpol.
kind of a similar thing, but it's not quite. Interpol, another one. Yeah.
Very Joy
So
Division. Yes.
everybody's got that sort of background of songs that they probably listened to and loved, but more doing something that just trying to sound like them. I think that's where I was like, I'm over this.
You know, again, you look at this as a natural progression of a band, and like this is a lot of the complaints we all have about Monkeys now as well. Is like, so Oasis writing Definitely Maybe and What's a Story More Than Glory and Be Here Now was like Noel Gallagher working on a building site with not a penny to scratch his arse with, so he can write these anthems because he really fucking cared, and like he can, and then we can relate to that as working class people in working class areas. But then when he's lived in absolute millionaire stardom for 20 years at this point, well, 15 years at this point, and where's he going to find it? He's got to be the artist within him rather than the raw.
He's still experiencing different periods of his life through that. So he could still
He
be
is, but then
feeling
more.
heartache. He could still be feeling rejected, isolated. All of these different things which could then inspire a great song. And there's probably loads of artists who've then, like George Michael, for instance, experience all different sort of effects of stardom, but still wrote great songs.
Yeah.
So it's not that you can't write a great song because of it. Or you
No,
can't...
but like, he wrote good songs that were just different. But it's when you talk about, like, no, George Michael, again, one of my favourite artists, like, George Michael sound didn't change too much. Like, maybe the sound did, but the lyrics didn't change. Oasis, the lyrics changed a lot. And the sound did, but because they wanted to don the cap more to the Beatles, that's what they wanted to do, and that's what they felt at the time, because they wanted to be more musically, technically great. Because a lot of the criticism that was ever thrown at Oasis was like, well, you just keep nicking riffs off T-Rex and what have you, you know, you're this, you're that. And they wanted to don their cap to, like, no, we with the next Beatles, let's do a Beatles and let's do fucking Sgt. Pepper's.
Surely so many chord progressions that you can actually do as a band, though. So, like, you're always going to get you're always going to rip off somebody in some way.
Of course you are.
I think so, especially when you've got, like, heavy influences as well. But what I was going to say on this is, like, how old were they at this point as well? Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like, you know, Foo Fighters are a good example. Like, I dislike their later albums because probably for the same reason you don't like this one. Yeah. I don't like the sound that they've got, and I can't get into it because I'm not saying that you are stuck, but, like, personally for Foo Fighters, I'm stuck in, like, that era for various reasons, whether it's nostalgia or I just prefer the sound or what. But I totally understand when artists go through this process where, you know, they're probably thinking, I really don't want to do E, C, G, D anymore. I don't want to do, like, power chords.
Try something new.
You know.
That's like
one thing I will say, Oasis are at the end of their life at this point, so
there's that as well.
They're at the end of their life, and no, they split up the August of that year, and they've done the last tour. And back then, I mentioned it earlier, you didn't tour without an album then. Whereas, like, no, every band does a tour now. Like, stadiums up and down the country are full every weekend during the summer, every night during the summer. Like, Middlesbrough's getting gigs on now. We had Take That and James R for this year.
Arctic Monkeys.
Arctic Monkeys last year. Arctic Monkeys had an album out last year, but, like, Take That didn't this year, did they? And they've done a tour. People are touring. The Killers done a tour and played Riverside, didn't have a new album out. Like, you can tour now without an album, and also Oasis is going to tour next year. But then, 2009, you didn't tour without an album. But what I will say, that tour was fucking fantastic. I paid £60 for my ticket at Stadium of Light. You had start the day off with Reverend Omegas, went on to The Enemy, then Kasabian, then Oasis.
It's
a good lineup, that, like, isn't it?
For 60 quid.
Yeah.
That is class.
Yeah. I'll give me 3-1 anyway.
Yeah, go on, do it. Yeah.
So,
forgot about that.
yeah. So, my number 3 is Get Off Your High Horse Lady.
You know what? I wouldn't even been able to tell you what that sounds like.
I think it's like Noel, like, is like showing his vocal range off very well there. He really, really is. Like, he sounds fantastic, and it's just a very, like.
Wait a minute. Get off your. Yeah. I do remember.
And, like, for me, it's like it's a Donta, like, playing a bit of blues in that. I quite like it.
Yeah,
like,
I was going to say, is it more a bluesy number?
It's a very bluesy number, mate. A very bluesy number. Then I've got Bag It Up.
No, I can't remember that one.
It's a good intro to the album.
Can we play it?
Play it if you want, mate.
Yeah.
It's a good intro to the album.
Bag It Up. Jeez, I can't even remember that at all. Bag It Up.
I still think they've done this right, and the number. What a great sound! The Celine voice as well.
This is why I'm thinking that some of my So, right, say there, and this is why I am probably wrong. Because
you are.
I think I'm making assumptions based off what I previously thought and thought that his voice wasn't anywhere near it and everything. But actually, no, it was because their sound was changing.
Yeah, the sound changed, yeah.
And I didn't like that. So that song, the way that they sing that song, that wouldn't have happened on the first 4 albums.
Right, listen to the rest of that track when you get a chance as well. Liam's voice changes, it goes up, like, the chorus and stuff, like, he gets that high pitched tone. It's a good Liam track.
So that's why I'm thinking maybe it's because of the way that they were producing the songs, making the songs, it wasn't like their old songs at all. It was far like
it was
going down a direction that I was like, oh well, this sounds like another band that I don't particularly like.
How many bands are going to release 7 of the same sounding songs?
Oh,
Well, actually, no. Catfish and the Bottlemen tried that. They literally release the same album over and over again until people fucking caught on.
Yeah, I mean, people still were ranting and raving about them.
Yeah, fucking dreadful.
But you're right, because White Lies. I started loving White Lies because they were proper darker, emo, rock sounding, bit of synth.
Yeah.
And now it's like completely different.
Yeah,
Still love them, but I'd still hark back to the original.
Of course you would.
Albums.
I think it's just natural. And I talk about if Oasis didn't release the album, I might not have bought
Do you
it.
think that's like with everyone though?
Yeah, of course it is. Every single band. I mean, Arctic Monkeys are the most extreme measure of that one. I mean, fucking hell.
Let's not.
Well, I can't stand the last two Monkeys albums.
It was probably an hour's waste of my time going to watch them at Glastonbury. It was horrendously bad. He doesn't sing the songs in the right tone so that everyone can sing along. He likes to do it so that nobody can sing along. Pretentious prick.
It's very self-indulgent.
Yeah, it's fucking massively self-indulgent.
But the Beatles were the same. Like, look how they change over what was a 10-year, not even a 10-year period. Like, you've got to change your sound. And, like, your experiences change, so you as a musician change.
Yeah, but sometimes it can work. Like, I'd say, like, as much as I love White Lies' first 2 albums, their 5th album was brilliant. I no skipping at all through any of the tracks. 5th album, brilliant. As a 5th album from a band, and you'd be thinking, there might be sort of, like, on the way down. So, like, I think it depends on the artist.
Yeah.
But there can't be that many artists. I know we're only talking about Oasis now, but like there can't be that many artists who've maybe released, say, 7 studio albums like they have, that are bangers all the way through.
No, it's now impossible.
No, I think it's part of it's just part of progression as well. Like, I think you have to go through these like
dips.
Yeah, of course you do. Because it's like learning in a way, isn't it? Like you do it, and then it doesn't do very well.
Well, you were saying about DMAs, because we were saying they must be influenced by Oasis, because you can hear certain sounds of them easily.
First album, like, just screams of what's the story.
But you said on the last album, I think it was, maybe.
I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, you couldn't like it as much.
Didn't like it all. No, I didn't like it all.
But that was because they were going more, almost a little bit more dancey.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, and I love my dance music as well, but I just didn't enjoy it. But again, it's probably what your expectation of a band is. And like you go into think, oh, you're just going to make the same sound over and over again. It's where I got upset with Stand and Show the Giants because I was excited that much about it. But again, like I said earlier, I wouldn't have bought that album if it wasn't Oasis, probably. But again, look at the Monkeys. I was arguing with people for weeks saying, oh, no, you just got to understand. No, I understand music, mate, but you tell me you're going to buy any jazz music if you had a Monkeys to release it. No, of course you're not.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not going to the vinyl shop with your mod cut. You got any fucking jazz in there? You're not here. You're not here. It's just not happening. But that's kind of what happened with that.
Turn up in your packer and your mod cut into a jazz club. I'm like, I'll have one next to the band.
I'll give you number 1. It was the, we're talking about like the singles released for the albums were very much same sound. But Shock of the Lightning was a really good rock and roll track. Vintage Oasis, good Don't the Cap. I think it was a good way to close out them as a band at that time. Good track. Yeah,
I mean, I haven't got a lot to say on this album in particular. I think, again, I need to go back to it because I think you're right. I think I maybe have misplaced some of my judgments on this one.
Yeah. It's okay, you've learned.
But I've learned. I've understood it tonight. Or maybe it's just because I've had red wine in the morning. I'll go, he's a
fuck's he on about him?
What's he on about? Anyway, but I think, for me, I could only pick 2 songs.
Go on. It's okay.
I could only pick 2 songs. I've got Shock of the Lightning.
Yeah.
As number 2. And I'm Out of Time. I know I mentioned it earlier on, but I think I'm Out of Time is actually a really nice song.
It's a really good song. Yeah, it's a good song.
I think it's quite melodic. I just think it's quite easy to listen to, and I just don't think it screams the trying to do too much. It's still got a lot of layers in it, and I just think that it's a really nice song to listen to.
For someone who doesn't like the Beatles, I mean,
I can't.
Listen.
We're not talking about the Beatles. I know you got a Beatles top on, but like, I might as well have worn my White Lies top tonight. We could have
listen to Abbey Road, and then listen to that track.
So this album, then,
I'd rather shit my hands in clap. I've already said that.
I know you mentioned that like there's been a couple of times where you've sort of alluded to like a lot going on. Because again, I've not heard this album, so explain to me like what is a lot going on in this? Like,
oh no, I can't remember. There's a lot going on in this. What do you mean? Sorry.
I'm sure, maybe I've misheard. I'm sure you said something that was like a song, Yeah,
I'm
I
Out of
misunderstood
Time.
what you said.
On I'm Out of Time, it felt like there was like nice layers of different types of
some nice
instruments
harmonies in
there,
it.
some nice harmonies.
Oh,
in there.
and there's not a lot
was-
going on in.
No, in that song there is. In that
No,
song
in
there
that
is.
song there is,
In
and
that
it's
song
just
there
it's
is.
quite nice and melodic and everything. But it reminds me from earlier on in this conversation. It reminds me maybe more of their first
Yes,
stuff.
yeah.
Maybe like Cast No Shadow, a bit more
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah. Get that.
gentle and easy to listen to, but like nice, and it was cleverly put together. But again, I do need to listen to this album again. But there's quite a few songs on here that I can remember just thinking I can't stand there.
The only reason I was
To Be Where There's Life, I remember thinking that was utterly shite.
It's not a great track to be fair.
Soldier On, I didn't think that was particularly good. The Turning, I didn't think that was particularly good either.
I like the turning.
I think there's just a couple of songs on that album where I definitely probably would still skip now, but I think I still need to listen
The
to
skippable tracks, mate.
Get Off Your High Horse Lady. I remember that wasn't
I like
bad.
that.
Yeah.
It was in my top 3, that
So
one.
I think I need to give it more time.
Yeah, the only reason I was asking is because while you were chatting about a point earlier, I was looking on Wikipedia to try and get like a thing about like how it was, like what the critics said after it came out, because I was interested. But then there was a section about concept and sound, and I was reading it, and apparently like in the build up to it, Noel Gallagher was like, I really just want to fucking throw everything at it. So that's why I was asking about like, did you feel like there was like maybe too much going on? Because it sounds like it was a deliberate move. Like he sort of said, normally what we do is we have a guitar, we play the acoustic, and then we shot some drums and a bass on top of it. But this time around, I wanted to go, yeah, do you know what? No, I want this and I want
want
that.
to try stuff.
And I
High
want-
Flying Birds are very much like that though. When they came out, like he had a very similar sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you then
Like
think
a
about
woman
what
playing
he's saying
scissors.
there, if you listen to, do you know what I mean? The intro to that, there's all sorts going on. There's
not really songs
there's
start
a
the
crash,
helicopter.
there's special effects, and there's like I wouldn't even know if that's the right term.
Right.
But like it sounds like there's a city in the background. That's
There's a
like
helicopter, Peter.
There's a helicopter. There's something going on, and then it crashes in, and there's drums. There's everything going on. And I like that element of Oasis, how it just felt like there was
Over the
just
top.
loads of things all playing at the same time, but they all came together as one melodic anthemic song.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's like anything like that in that.
I think it's like
maybe they had more money to put it there.
I think more money, absolutely. I think Noel's notes that was like more like not like an effects element where like there's loads of different layers of fucking madness.
He's talking about
again
like
that's drugs.
He's making like a point about like
that was more. This is his musical mindset on it. Like,
yeah, so he says, I kind of like fancy, I'd like to make an absolutely fucking colossal album, you know, like literally 2 orchestras, stuff like that. That's what it says.
And again, it sounds very much like Athletic Son and stuff like the bluesy numbers, and there's a few like ones where they wouldn't sound bad played by an orchestra as well. Some tracks on there, but yeah, it is very much that album. But you can tell it was like it was an end of a time. That album was an end of a time. You can.
Oh, this is interesting.
Go on.
Noel also revealed details about his lyrics for his new songs. I've literally got nothing left to write about. I've wrote about being a youth, and I've wrote about being a rock star. I've wrote about living life in the big city. I've been revisiting some of my more psychedelic trips of a younger man because I remember them all, you see, putting them to music. So you made a point there earlier on, I think, about, finding things to write about. Or was it you and you said, like, well, what's he going to write about now?
That was
like,
me, yeah. Well, what's going to write about now, yeah.
But then, like I said, like everybody's still got shit going on in their lives that you can maybe write a tune about. Surely, like you've got something going on where you can hark back to and go, fucking hell, we've had to go through this.
This is definitely why you find, though, it's a common theme that you'll find that bands, like, it's rare, I think, for a band to, like, get better as they progress.
No,
the first album,
Beatles
in
are one of the few
particular,
bands that done that.
is all...
Christ, how many times do we need to mention the Beatles tonight? Fuck me, we're talking about Oasis. I know I mentioned White Lies, but fuck me.
However, I think part of that, though, not to go into Beatles too much, but they have like
shoot me now.
Their story proper kicks in towards the end, though, doesn't it? Because when their manager dies, I think that's when like it's like like they're all fucked.
The shackles are off.
Yeah, but I think they're like emotionally fucked as a result of that as well.
Right, yeah,
and then that comes out in the albums. But yeah, I think that sort of resonates with what Jimmy's saying there. Like, you're right, but it's just not the same. And then a lot of these bands like that aren't overproduced, or they've not been presented with a like they haven't got like a big record label behind them. They're not sellouts. Fall Out Boy were prime example of
that's
this.
a good idea. Yeah.
They're like, I mean, I can only really relate to like emo shit, but like their earlier albums are so much better than like the
but
newer
maybe,
ones.
Well, maybe that's then a standard for most bands is the start off, and you, like you said earlier on, you've had like 16 years to fucking write your first album, and then your second album is a year, your third album might be 2, whatever it might be. You're going through different things that you haven't wrote about before, so you don't actually find it easier to write about. And then when it comes to the end, like on Dig Out Your Soul is, you're probably lacking any inspiration to write about anything because you're like, fucking hell, it's just all a mess or whatever. So maybe then that's why like the songs aren't as greatly put together because you don't really care about the lyrics as much. Whereas like Slide Away might have, I know we keep mentioning Slide Away tonight, but Slide Away might have meant something to him. So he's like really passionate about how that might sound. But for instance, I don't know, The Shock of the Lightning, you might have thought,
that was just a perfect single track. That's all it was. Like, here's our sound that we've had for a while. It's a single. We'll get it out. That'll promote the album. That'll promote the tour. Sound.
It feels more like a bit of an experiment to me. Like again,
Well,
I've not heard it, but reading into it here, it sounds like he's gone. Well, I don't know what to write about, but I want to do something.
The best way to do it is probably to listen to one of the like the first songs that you might have liked from Oasis on the first 2 albums, and then listen to Shock of the Lightning immediately after and go, how's this the same band?
yeah.
It's like, what the fuck happened in the years between that ended up making them sound like... I mean, I know I put it on one of my best ones on the album just because I had to. But what the fuck happened in between for them to turn into that?
I know, but if you think about it, like Shock the Lightning sounds very much like Live Forever, like Cigarettes and Alcohol, like Supersonic. It does, like in regards to the sound of it. Lyrically, it's nowhere near it.
No.
But it does.
It's not. The instruments aren't the same. The edginess isn't the same. The cleverness with the instruments aren't the same. The chord progressions, everything. Oh, right. Yeah, Slide Away has a very simple chord progression and everything else, like most of their albums did at that point. But no.
It does.
I wish I could provide a bit more input.
We're going to expect you to listen to it in the next 24 hours and then come back to us immediately.
Right.
And then I'm going to FaceTime him and go, okay.
Right. Well, that's been an absolute pleasure. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks for hosting us, Peter.
Thanks for hosting us, Peter.
Thank you for having me. You're more than welcome. It's been a pleasure.
It's a nice way to spend a Monday evening, isn't it?
It is.
I think we should get Peter back on again.
I think
for another one of these.
But it depends right, give me a few bands who you might think.
Yeah. I think you'd be good on Maximo.
Oh, yeah, for the same exact reasons as Oasis, so we'll go to Maximo.
Yeah, and I think anything like, because obviously we're similar age. I know people look at you and think, fucking hell, how is he the same age as me? But you know, he's looked after himself more.
Water and spinach.
I think a lot of the Landfill Indie kind of sounding bands, you'd be really good. Do you remember that Landfill Indie thing, X-Offended?
No.
Like, there's a lot of the indie bands around like the mid 2000s.
XFM, God, now you're fucking showing your age. Jesus.
So it's like Maximo Part 1, you can Boy Kill Boy, probably one of them.
Maximo, the Kooks, Boy Kill Boy.
Kooks are fucking awful, yeah.
And the Pier, Panic at the Disco, like we could name loads.
There's a lot we can do around there, mate.
Yeah.
It's, like, it's I'd be better on the 90s stuff. I'd look to do one on like the Cash Charlatans, stuff like that.
Definitely the Charlatans, because there's literally not one Charlatans album that I will put down and not listen to. Because I fucking love them.
Telling Stories is one of the greatest albums ever.
There's a song that they hardly play that is my favourite song by the Charlatans. And every time he posts, because I used to follow him on Twitter until I came off it, but he used to always post what his song sheet was for the set list. Sorry. And he never ever played it. And he put out a tweet one day and he was like, what song would you like to see on the playlist? And I was like, fucking Over Rising. Played the bastard song. And he liked it and he put, you're right. I was like, but then I've never seen it since.
But then he never played it.
I've never seen it since. But Over Rising, brilliant song. But the whole, I love the Charlatans. But yeah, let's go more like...
I think Maximo will be a good one for me and you. Very much our era of like becoming adults and stuff.
Yeah.
Be a good one to go for.
I once told Paul Smith that he's God because I love the bloke.
I love Paul Smith.
I love the bloke. I even drew... You remember when you used to get like those fabric markers?
Yeah.
I had a plain white t-shirt from Primark or probably fucking Topman or whatever it was. And I drew a silhouette of, in my artistic sense, of Paul Smith with his fucking cap on and everything. Yeah. And just put Paul Smith is God.
Yeah.
And like I saw him one night and I was wearing it and he was like, I love that. I was like, wow, God. I was buzzing with this. And then probably about 3 albums after that, shite. So
I
we'll
quite
have the
like
same
that
talkers tonight over
All right.
Maximo.
We'll do that then.
Sound.
All
Thank
right.
you for having me,
Thanks,
gents.
guys.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers,
Bye,
Jeff.
everyone.